Most men think a calorie deficit means being hungry all day, and that's why most diets fall apart after just 2 weeks. I'm nearly 43 years old, and I have periods where I live in a calorie deficit for months at a time, and I'm never truly starving. So here's the 7 hacks that make that possible. And real quick, if you're new here, hit subscribe because I make videos like this every week for men over 40 who are serious about losing fat and building muscle. Hack 1, get 40% of your calories from protein. A lot of men aren't eating nearly enough protein, and when you're in a calorie deficit, this is the single biggest lever you have, and here's why. Protein has something called a thermic effect, which basically means your body burns around 25 to 30% of the calories in protein just by digesting it. So for every 100 calories of protein you eat, you only actually absorb around 70 to 75 of those calories, and no other macronutrient does that. On top of that, protein triggers more fullness hormones than carbs or fat, so you feel fuller for longer on fewer net calories. And more importantly, when you're cutting calories after 40, your body will eat muscle for fuel if you don't give it enough protein. And less muscle means a slower metabolism, and that is the last thing you need. So what does 40% look like in real food? Well, if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, for example, that's roughly 200 grams of protein. And you can hit that number by eating eggs, chicken, beef, fish, Greek yogurt, and cottage cheese, for example. And you want to hit that number every single day. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that higher protein diets significantly reduced fat mass while holding on to lean muscle during a calorie deficit, even without changes to exercise. I hit my protein target every day without exception, and it's the single biggest reason I stay in decent condition, also without feeling starving. Hack 2, eat more food, not less. A big bowl of broccoli, mixed vegetables, and leafy greens actually weighs the same as a small bag of chips, yet that bag of chips has 8 times more calories. Your stomach stretches from volume and weight, not calories, so filling it with the right stuff means you feel full without blowing your deficit. So add vegetables to every meal and make sure you're eating them alongside the more calorie-dense food because you'll naturally eat less of the heavy stuff without even trying. Hack 3, stop drinking your calories. This is the one most men completely miss. 2 lattes a day, a few beers at the weekend, and fruit juice every morning. And we're talking 600 to 900 extra calories before you've touched a meal. And the problem with that is liquid calories don't make you feel full because your brain barely registers them. Aim to drink black coffee with a splash of cream in it if you must. Sparkling water's decent, diet sodas are fine, and of course, you can drink plain water if you're not a psycho and you don't find it soul destroying. I mean, one swap alone can save you 400 to 500 calories a day without changing a single thing you eat. And research shows that liquid calories don't trigger the same fullness signals as solid food. You can literally drink 500 calories and feel exactly the same as if you drank none. I had a guy, I think he was about 47 years old at the time, and we couldn't figure out why the weight wasn't moving. So I asked him, I said, right, just track absolutely everything you put in your mouth this week. And at the end of the week, send me it over. So he did that, he tracked it, and then we realized he was drinking an extra 200 calories a day from some frappuccino shitty type high calorie coffee drink. And that was the culprit. Hack 4, don't change anything for the first 4 weeks. Now, this goes against everything you'll hear, but listen, this is where most men blow up their deficit before it's even had a chance to work. It gets to day 10 and the scale hasn't moved, so panic sets in and then calories get slashed and cardio goes up. And then 2 weeks later, you're burnt out, you're starving, and you've quit. But here's what's actually happening. In the first 4 weeks of a calorie deficit, your body is going through a huge amount of change underneath the surface. Your gut content is shifting, glycogen stores are depleting, and your body is constantly holding and releasing water. So yes, the scales will go up on some days and then down on the others. It's essentially going to lie to you relentlessly. But the scale on any given day tells you almost nothing. The average trend over 4 weeks tells you everything you need to know. So here's what to do. Start your deficit and don't touch it for 4 weeks. Log your weight every single morning. So yes, jump on the scales every morning. And then at the end of the week, you need to track the average. And after 4 weeks, and only after 4 weeks, if the trend hasn't moved in the direction you need, then consider making a calorie adjustment. A study in the International Journal of Obesity found that weight fluctuations of up to 2 to 3 pounds in a single week are completely normal. And yes, even during successful fat loss. So you have to remember that day-to-day data, it's just noise, and monthly trends are very much the signal. And I see men quit every week because they looked at the wrong data at completely the wrong time. Hack 5, walk after you eat. And I want to be clear here, I'm not selling you this as a fat burning tool because honestly it isn't, but the calorie burn from a 10-minute walk is barely worth even mentioning, but here's why it matters in a completely different way. When you eat, your blood sugar rises, and the bigger the meal, the bigger the spike. And when blood sugar spikes, especially sharply, it then crashes and it disrupts your leptin signaling. And leptin is the hormone that tells your brain, hey, we're full, we've had enough. Now, when it gets disrupted, your brain thinks you're hungry again. Yes, even when you've eaten a solid meal. And this is not a willpower problem. This is your hormones working against you. A short 10 to 15 minute walk after a meal helps blunt the blood sugar spike, and you'll find your blood sugar stays stable and leptin keeps doing its job properly. Basically, you don't get those false hunger signals just 2 hours after you've already eaten enough. And this isn't about burning fat directly, by the way. It's about keeping your hormones accurate so you don't eat more than your body actually needs. Hack 6, cut your cardio down. This is the one most men get completely backwards, and it can silently destroy your results for absolutely weeks without you even knowing it. Here's the mistake. You're not losing fast enough, so your instinct says, oh, we better do more cardio. And to you, it feels productive. It feels like you're fixing a problem. But here's what's actually happening. Too much cardio puts your body into a chronic stress state and cortisol climbs. And the issue here is that elevated cortisol signals your body to hold water, not for a day, not for days. Sometimes it can be weeks at a time. Now, here's where it gets really cruel. Fat burning might genuinely be happening underneath that water retention, and your body composition might actually be improving too, but you can't see it yet. And, the scale's up, the mirror looks terrible, what you're seeing. So what do most men do? Well, they make an emotional decision. They slash calories further and they pile on even more cardio. And because of that, they've just made the problem significantly worse. Here's how to think about this properly. Your diet creates the deficit and cardio supports your health. And those are two very different jobs. Think about the math. You'd need thousands of extra steps every single day just to create a meaningful calorie gap. And that's exhausting. It also hammers your cortisol and it tells your body it's under threat. Keep cardio light. Definitely move and stay active. I'm not saying that you shouldn't do, but don't use it as your primary deficit lever because your diet does that job. Hack 7, fix your sleep. You didn't expect this on a calorie deficit list, did you? But listen, one bad night of sleep raises ghrelin, and that's your hunger hormone, and that can be raised by up to 24%. After 40, broken sleep hits even harder. Your cortisol climbs, testosterone drops, and our body likes to cling to fat, unfortunately, and you can eat perfectly, and you can still struggle if your sleep is wrecked. You want to aim for 7 to 8 hours and you want to get to bed at the same time every night. Also, if you do drink alcohol, you want to stop within 3 hours of sleep because it completely disrupts your REM sleep. A study from the University of Chicago showed that sleep-deprived dieters lost 55% less fat than those who slept well, on the exact same calorie deficit. And I've seen men fix their sleep and then suddenly start losing fat they'd been stuck on for weeks at a time. And I've actually personally lived that too. If you're watching this and you're thinking, well, I know all of this, but I still can't make it stick, then that's exactly what I help men fix. We use your actual data and build a plan around you specifically, not a generic cookie cutter program. And we make data-driven decisions, not emotional ones. So if that sounds like what you need, there's a link below this video. Fill in the short application form. And if I think I can genuinely help you and you're a good fit, I'll send you a detailed questionnaire and we can go from there. And that's it for today's video. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.